Hello there, and welcome to a new episode of the Contentcraft Devlog series. This is episode 2, and we're gonna go over some bug fixes and some new additions since the last episode. But first of all, I would like to thank all of you for all the support in the last episode. You guys were really awesome, and my goat sensei Calpinjo actually commented on my video, so thank you. I really appreciate all the support. I want to keep making modding videos and hopefully make the best mod out there. You know, we'll see. So if you liked it, make sure to subscribe, like, and leave a comment about your feedback or anything you would like to change about the mod. I always read the comments, and yeah, without further ado, let's get on to the bug fixes. Alright, in the last episode there was a bug where the sulfur torch actually used the soul flame particle. I'll show a clip of that real quick. And then we have sulfur torches. There is I need to fix that. It's using the soul fire texture. That's something I need to fix. It needs to use the sulfur fire texture. And yeah, I just quickly whipped up a new texture for the sulfur flame particle, so it doesn't use the soul torch particle flame texture thingy. That was a mouthful. Alright, next up we have this little guy here, the sulfur lantern. Last episode I actually forgot to remove the golden from the sulfur lantern name because I decided to just name it sulfur lantern. You know, I kind of already had that in mind, but thank you to Mining Blue Taco for also pointing that out. Next up we had a really weird bug, which was that when you were on fire, it wouldn't actually use the correct texture. So if you're on fire right now, on normal fire, you use the orange fire texture, and then if you're on fire with soul sand, you use the soul sand fire texture, which normally without any modifications you would actually be on fire. You would be on orange fire right now, and this even works in your screen. And then with sulfur fire, you use the sulfur fire texture, and it works for all three of them. So now each fire has its own unique appearance, and that's just something I thought was really annoying about the base game. The next one was related to loot tables. I actually forgot to make a loot table, so I had to follow like a primer. I don't know if you guys know what that is. You just have to like follow like a little guide that shows you, like, yeah, it was kind of complicated. You have to work with resource keys and stuff like that, and item IDs. I don't want to get into that, but now items actually drop their correct parts, and they have blocks that they're mined by. It works perfectly. Alright, that's the rapid fire bug fixes section. Now we're gonna go on to the new additions since last episode. Alright, last episode, when I was talking about the recipe for the sulfur to gunpowder, I actually hinted that I wanted to use sulfur dust instead to make gunpowder, because, you know, this is like an actual like clump of sulfur, and this is a dust, so it would make sense that you would mix dust into a dust. I don't know, does that make sense? My idea was further reinforced when Barton actually, you know, recommended in the comments to do something with the grindstone. Here we have the sulfur dust, a new item that I'm really proud of the texture. I think that it turned out really well. Don't worry about the glowing, we'll cover that in a bit. I really like the texture. Now you use sulfur dust to make gunpowder, and this actually makes gunpowder more viable with the new change I'm going to talk about now. And that's where the grindstone comes in. You can now use grindstones to grind down items. Currently there's only one item that you can grind down, and that is the sulfur clump. So if you get the sulfur clump and click a grindstone, you get 2 sulfur dust. Basically, you can now use this to grind down items into their dust form, and it's actually data driven. For all the technical players who are watching my videos, this is how the JSON recipe works. So you would just define the type, which is grinding. You would define the count, then you would say the ingredient, and then what you want to get. So you can add grinding recipes for things like you can grind bones down to bone meal, stuff like that. Someone actually suggested I make this item stacks. I'll do that later. So you can like put an item stack here and then say like 2 or something like that. I don't know how item stacks work, but that's in my backlog for now. Thank you for the suggestion. It was kind of hard to do it. There was just like so much stuff I had to do to try and get it to work, but it's finally working. I know some of you were kind of jump scared by the code there, and I'm sorry about that. I try not to show too much code, but I was really proud of it. Alright, the next thing we have is just a operator only item. This was just added so that I can test mobs, because in my previous mods I had to constantly spawn and then kill mobs to try and change the attributes and stuff like that. But that's where the insta kill stick comes in. So if I get a warden and I spawn it in, if I hit the warden it safely removes the warden from the world using events and stuff like that, so it doesn't actually deal any damage. It just removes the warden. Let's say I want to test out the drops for any mob. I can shift and then kill it, and it'll drop the drops for the mob. So this is not meant to be used in survival anyway. This is just like a dev thing. Like if you're trying to like test out a mob, you can use this to just remove the mob instantly. For the next thing, we'll actually have to exit out of the world. And look at that, I've added a custom title screen text to the main menu. I might change this a bit. I don't like the craft, how it's like structured. This will change. Maybe the colors will change, maybe this will change, but I kind of wanted to have like a nice little custom background as well. I know someone had like a worry that like, oh, people like want to turn this off, or like they don't like it, but to be honest, my mod is only meant to be played with itself. That's why some of the code like just won't work with any other mod, like some of the mix-ins and stuff like that. So it's kind of meant to just be played with its own mod, and maybe JEI or Jade. That's pretty much it. I hope you guys like it. Maybe I can change up the text a bit. Alright, the next change we have, we're just gonna get some random items, split them up. This change was added because I kept dying in survival and I couldn't find my items, and I would constantly lose random leggings because of that, and I had to craft new ones. So now when you drop items to the ground, they now glow. Look at that. I'll tell you why rotten flesh isn't glowing in a second, but yeah, you can actually see this through walls, so it doesn't matter if you've like lost it, like you will notice that there's something glowing. And if you think this is kind of OP, I kind of get it. This was just something like a personal preference, and if you don't like it, you can actually go into the config for the mod. The F3 menu is kind of covering it, but if you go into the config, you can see that you can customize it. It's kind of, the F3 overlay is kind of like blocking it for some reason, but this says highlight dropped items, so you can just turn this off if you want, or you can set an item filter mode. So this is blacklist, so rotten flesh isn't going to be highlighted, because let's say I don't really want to pick up rotten flesh, so I don't want to highlight it. Or let's say I don't want to pick up sulfur dust. I can save this. And now if I drop sulfur onto the ground, it won't highlight. Look at that. So yeah, it's kind of powerful. Let me know if you want any changes for that, for the config. And you can also set it to whitelist, so it'll only highlight the items. So if I get sulfur dust, maybe sulfur clump or rotten flesh, you can see if I drop them onto the ground, it only highlights these two items and not the sulfur clump. This is gonna be nice for like survival and stuff like that, and I hope you guys enjoy it. Now the next thing, I'm not too sure about whether I want to permanently add, but we have the nettle block. The item texture is kind of messed up, you can see it. Yeah, but if you place them on the ground, they look okay. The texture was made by Azadin, my texture artist. If I get a bush, it looks good, And if you step on the block, you take half of a half heart damage. So you take 0.5 hearts of damage. I might change up the hue a bit to make it match more with this, because it's kind of bluish. But yeah, I like the concept. I'm working on adding poison ivy, which is kind of like a vine, but it looks poisonous and it damages you. So this will make the forest a lot more like diverse and stuff in terms of plant life. But yeah, that's a bug. I need to fix the nettle texture. Just saying that for my future self, if in case I forget, you need to change the nettle block texture. Alright, that's it for this showcase. I just wanted to kind of like make a small little video to just showcase all the new stuff. I'll be making a few more videos like this, so if you like what I'm doing and if you want to follow the development of Contentcraft, make sure to like, subscribe, and leave a comment with future like additions or anything you want to add or change, or if you like hate my textures or whatever. Just let me know down in the comments, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.